Hey everybody, today we're talking about how to read Superman from Geoff Johns. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're talking about how to read Superman by Geoff Johns in trade. Yes, there's a new absolute out there, but it's the Superman by Gary Frank. And Geoff Johns Absolute doesn't contain everything that he ever wrote, but I'm going to show you here how you can go and seek out all the stories that Geoff Johns wrote in a non-oversized format. So there's no omnibus yet as of this recording in 2025. There's just an absolute, which I don't own many absolutes, but that does have some stuff with Gary Frank. And I will talk about what's in the absolute as we go through this. So we'll go through chronologically, right? So first book right here, this is Superman Up, Up, and Away. This is by Geoff Johns and Kurt Busiek with art by Pete Woods and Renato Guedes. This is the first Superman book post 1 year later, so this was crossing over between Superman and Action Comics. During the 1 year later event, Infinite Crisis was still going on, but the books had jumped 1 year later. So this kind of gives you a new Superman status quo. I feel like it gets credited more as a Kurt Busiek book, or Busiek, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, sorry. But this is an older trade. This is more recently collected in the Superman by Kurt Busiek hardcover. That's out now in volume 1. So you can seek this out on eBay or something like that, or maybe your local comic shop has an old copy. You can get it on Comixology, whatever, or the DC app, right? Or you could get that new Kurt Busiek hardcover. But this is the new regime of Superman post Infinite Crisis. But Geoff Johns is listed as a co-writer on here, although I think he's maybe does more plotting and Kurt Busiek has more to do it, given that they collected it in the Kurt Busiek hardcover, not a Geoff Johns collection, right? So Geoff Johns' run really kind of kicks off with Last Son, right? So Last Son just had in 2021 this deluxe hardcover. This has Last Son and the Eric Powell Bizarro issues. So this is kind of the chronological order. So this has the Adam Kubert stuff with Zod in here, and then it goes into the Bizarro stuff with Eric Powell from Goon fame in here. And that's kind of the only place more recently to find these Bizarro issues is in this deluxe edition here. Because if you pick up the other recent Last Son of Krypton trade, same cover, different words. This is 2 more words. This is The Last Son, which is what the story arc was called. This is Last Son of Krypton. This has the Adam Kubert stuff in here also with Zod, right? And then it skips 2 storylines ahead to Superman Brainiac, which is kind of the last Geoff Johns story arc before it goes into a bunch of crossovers, right? So if you're reading chronologically, go and seek out this deluxe hardcover. Then, so read Last Son and the Bizarro storyline in the back. I did a review on the channel of it. So you can watch that and watch me flip through it and fumble through it. That's there. And then after this goes Superman and the Legion of Superheroes. I also have a review of this up on the channel. And this is the next couple of issues of Action Comics from Geoff Johns once they finally got rolling with the Bizarro one that finished in this one. So this is the first couple of issues that Gary Frank drew, where you have the Christopher Reeve-ish Superman coming in. And it's kind of a cool little story. It's mostly a Legion story than a Superman story, but hey, it's still got Geoff Johns and Gary Frank on Superman. So this is in the Absolute Edition, as well as the Brainiac story that's in the back of this one, as well as finally, this is kind of stops, and then you can have Secret Origins. So after the Brainiac story, and I wish this had a Brainiac cover, even on the back. I guess this is a Brainiac image on the back here, so we'll show you that. After Brainiac, there's a event that happens at the end of the last issue where has to do with Kandor, right? The bottled city of Krypton kind of comes back to life. And then Geoff Johns, I think, goes and co-writes the what's that series called? There's basically like a 12-issue World of Krypton, World of New Krypton storyline that he draws, or he writes. Gary Frank does covers for. I think Geoff Johns co-writes it. It's not very well collected. It has been collected previously in the more recent, 10 years or so since it was first printed in a while. So maybe we'll get a DC's finest of that stuff. But at the same time, it was a big Superman universe crossover. Like Superman left his books, he left Superman, and he left Action Comics. Superman was taken over by Mon-El, doing that storyline. And then you also had Action Comics was a version of Nightwing and Flamebird taking over that book. And then Superman, Clark Kent, Kal-El was in that last or new Krypton maxi series of 12 issues. And then that finally collided into World War Krypton, or I think it was called, where the Kryptonians and the Earth kind of come to a head. And that was kind of the end of that era of Superman. But Geoff Johns felt like he stepped back from Superman at that point, because then you got Superman's Secret Origin, and this is the retelling of Superman's origin, the newest retelling one. The one previous to this was the one by Mark Waid, which is phenomenal, with Lionel Francis Yu. I'm looking for the trade over here. But anyway, this is the most recent retelling of Superman's origin before the new 52 with Action Comics and Grant Morrison, right? This is how he first comes to Earth. He's got a meeting with the Legion here. You meet all the different heroes. This establishes that he was Superboy again when he was a kid. It's fun. It's phenomenal. We'll do a review of it on the channel here in the coming weeks. So if you're wanting to read Geoff Johns' Action Comics run, you have a lot of different places to go. Unfortunately, it's not all collected easily right now. Hopefully they will remedy that with the DC's Finest or something like that. Or hell, maybe a compendium, for crying out loud. But yeah, you have a couple other places to look if you don't want that Absolute Edition. And even if you do, you're still missing some other things that are in the Deluxe Edition. So maybe that's why the Deluxe Edition exists, because this is everything that's not Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. And then Geoff Johns and Gary Frank, you have that Absolute Edition. So you could get this one and the Absolute Edition that I don't own. That's imagining it in my hand over here. And you could do it that way, right? So that's how to read Geoff Johns' Action Comics run in Collected Edition. That's not oversized. Hope you guys enjoyed that kind of confusing guide. But let me know if you have any questions down below. I'll do my best to answer them in a timely manner as time goes on, because somehow these videos last forever. And I will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.